what this passage means in context and what it doesn't mean. So please bear with me. And I pray it's blessing you by the grace of Jesus to see who Jesus truly is. He's not the Muslim Isa. He's the Lord Jesus Christ of the New Testament. Let me continue reading. Let me pick it up from verse 25. Watch here, folks. This is Jesus, same chapter. I tell you the truth. A time is coming and is now come when the dead, notice, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God. Notice what Jesus did not say. The dead will not hear the voice of the Father. The dead will not hear the voice of the Spirit. The dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. And here's the reason why. How is it that Jesus, by His voice, can raise the dead to life spiritually and physically? Just by the power of His voice, folks. Notice it. At the sound of His voice, the dead come to life. How is it that He can do it? He explains it in verse 26. Notice this. For as the Father has life in Himself, so He has granted the Son to have life in Himself. Notice the assertion. When Jesus says the Father has life in Himself, it means that the Father is the source of life and He's self-existent. Only God is self-existent. Only God doesn't need someone else to give Him life. Only God's life is not based, it's not contingent on other things. God is self-sufficient, self-existent, and the source of life. Jesus didn't just say the Father has life in Himself. Jesus says the Son Himself has life in Himself. Again showing that He's equal to the Father in divine ability, essence, majesty, and honor. Now, finally, verses 28 to 29. Don't forget in verse 25, the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God and live. Verses 28 and 29. Do not be amazed at this, for a time is coming when all who are in their graves, their tombs, will hear His voice. Whose voice in the context? 25 tells you, the voice of the Son of God. Those in the graves will hear the voice of the Son of God and come out. Those who have done good will rise to live, and those who have done evil will rise to be condemned. By myself, I can do nothing. Now, do you see the context? This was the context of verse 30. Jesus is saying that I do not act independently from the Father. I'm not out here doing my own thing. I can only do what the Father wills, and because I am God, I can do whatever the Father does and whatever He wills. And what the Father wills for me is to raise the dead, give them life, and that all honor me in the same way that they honor the Father. Now, David, for the life of me, does that sound like Jesus was denying His deity? And does that sound like the Muslim Isa when we read this in context?
Only if you rip the verses out of context.
Yep, exactly.